Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Leonard McDonald from Extraordinary Legacies, and I want to take this time to talk to you about the three absolutes when it comes to running a business, a company that is actually flourishing and on the rise. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and I just want to make sure it doesn't come across as if like these people are keeping this from you. Like, I'm not going to say that. I don't know, honestly, but I will tell you that what I've noticed is that these are the three things. Whereas if you're most businesses don't have all three, so if you are running a successful business and you're missing one of these three, you are about to blow your business up because this makes such a huge difference that it just it almost doesn't make sense that it's almost like a little known, well kept secret almost. But those three things are this, well, I'll start one by one. I won't say all three, but the first thing is clarity. You know, there are so many things out there, so much information. This is the information age, and we don't have clarity. And a lot of times we don't necessarily focus on finding clarity. We try to find answers, you know. And the thing is, you're going to find answers. But what happens is, like, let's say, like, everything is on YouTube, right? So if you go to YouTube, you're like, oh, I want to know how to do this. You go to YouTube, and there's a video on how to do it. But although they showed you how to do it, they didn't necessarily tell you what step that was. So, like, let's say that was step four, right? That means there's a step one, step two, and a step three that's designed to set you up so that you can run step four flawlessly. Does that make sense? It's like one of those things where um, having information isn't always the greatest thing because you can take the information and run in the wrong direction with it if you're not properly prepared for that information. And so that's why I really wanted to that's actually one of the reasons I really wanted to let you know about this because I've noticed that there's so much out there and there's so much being taught and there's so much advice being given, but it's without real true clarity. And so we get answers because we're looking for answers and we're excited because it's like, okay, yes, I finally got this answer. Now I can run. And then you start running and then you just run into another problem. And it's because you didn't have that clarity to understand if you're running in the right direction or if there's some information that you missed out on that would have guided you in the right direction or at least gave you the foundation that was needed for that step to be successful. So clarity is the first thing. The second thing is a roadmap. Without clarity, you cannot have a roadmap. But the roadmap aspect of it is like, you know, if you're trying to do it go from point A to point D, like you got to know what B and C are. You like everything we do builds upon the thing before it. If you don't take that approach, what's going to happen is it's going to be like quicksand. And so you're going to try to build, and because you didn't properly address that step, you're not going to make it. And unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves in that position where they're trying to go from point A to point D without thinking about point B or point C, and they wind up faltering along the way. So you want to have an actual roadmap with like checkpoints. You want to be like, okay, if I need to go from A to G or whatever letter, like what are the important things along the way that have to be in place for me to get there? And you want to create an actual roadmap for what it is that you're doing for a couple of reasons. One, if you have a roadmap, you have clarity. So anytime you bring anyone in, they're not lost because there's clarity in what you're trying to do, which means they're not going to bump heads with you. They know what the vision is. They know what everything is supposed to do. They understand exactly where they are, where you are, where the company is, and what the goals of that company are. There's clarity there. So now you can all work in unison to bring those goals to pass and accomplish them. Now that that's clear, there's a roadmap of like, okay, this is what we want to do. So now how are we going to do it? And when you have that roadmap in place, everyone can jump on board and say, oh, okay, this is where we are. These are the steps. Got it. I don't need to do step. Okay, so the thing that I was thinking about doing is like 4 steps ahead. So I can't think about that because we're right here on step two. So let's put that to the on the back burner now because it doesn't make sense to skip step 2 and step 3 and jump to step 4, because we're just not going to be as successful as we could be moving forward by going that route. Okay, and so that is the roadmap aspect of it. And the third thing is the support system. Um, if you started any business, you realize quickly that family and friends they're just not there for that. And I want to say, in their defense, you know, they're they're used to seeing us in a specific role before we attempted to be business owners. So you can't actually fault them 100% for not necessarily jumping on board and believing you or supporting you, because to them, this may just be another thing, another phase you're going through, depending on how many things you started before, or depending on the history that they've had with you, and say, okay, this isn't something that's really going to work. So they're thinking along those lines. Now, for you, and I know for me as well, it's one of those things where I'm always supportive of people, especially my friends, and so you start feeling some type of way, but just let it go, because at the end of the day, if you're depending on your friends and family for your business to be successful, it's not going to be successful, because more than likely they're not even the perfect audience for what it is that you're doing anyway. So if you start basing things off of them, you're going to fall flat on your face, because you're trying to please people who aren't your market, which means you're not actually pleasing your market. So when I say support system, yes, they are usually what you think of, friends and family. What I'm actually talking about is when it comes to actually running your business. There are different roles that go into running a business. And just for clarity on that, because a lot of people jump to CEO, but what it actually is entrepreneur role, and then marketing role, and then sales role, sales, and then closing, which is part of sales, but they're two different processes. So I try to separate them from time to time, just so it's known that there's a distinct difference between those processes. So having those roles in a company, usually you're doing all of them, which puts a lot of strain on you when you're running a business by yourself. So having a support system starts to remove some of those things off of your plate, so that you can breathe and you can more efficiently do the things that you excel at, rather than trying to learn this brand new thing and understand how to do it top notch, because you want your business to be high quality. And it's just easier to have someone else who's already doing that well, or that's already a passion of theirs. So you let them do their thing, you do your thing, and you guys just come together. And then instead of someone doing something out of their comfort zone that's just really holding them back more than anything else, you just get to continue moving forward at a consistent pace. So just wanted to cover those three things, because like I said, I've noticed that most businesses don't have all three down. And usually when I see that, I can see several areas where they're really lacking, based on where I feel like they should be, just looking at what it is they're doing. So not just like, oh, you way behind, but like, man, I'm looking at what you got going on and it's really good. But I see these areas where you can really be killing it, but one of these things is really slowing you down. So you should probably focus on that, so that you can actually get out of your business what you're pouring into it, because I feel like you're getting a lot less out of your business than what you're pouring into it. So hopefully that's been helpful. Go ahead and let me know like your favorite thing from it, or if you have any questions about anything I said, you can always send me a message if it's something on the private side, or if you want to go further with some type of coaching or anything with me, we can do that as well. But have an amazing day and an amazing weekend, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.